Welcome to the second set of the FnF Oreburgh Gate Draft League preseason semifinals. This is going to be the set between Noob Scrub's team, which is the E-Level Gamers, versus Benji's team, which is the Star Conquerors. As a reminder, the Z Pokemon available is Ivysaur with ZNE on Noob Scrub's side and Cryogonal with ZNE on Benji's side. So this is sure to be an interesting matchup. We already saw them go against each other before, Benji having the win in that battle. And as you may or may not know, these are two brothers, so really exciting matchup to see who goes into the grand finals from this match. It does look like Breaksin could be a pretty useful Pokemon in this one defensively, especially having that nice fire typing where it resists a lot of moves from the other typing Pokemon on Benji's team, so that'll definitely be an asset. Of course, Cryogonal is a very useful Pokemon to Benji, but I think that there are a few problem Pokemon that Cryogonal is going to have to deal with that it might need some support from other Pokemon, especially like Lairon, for example. So let's take a look at this matchup. I'm going to go pretty fast into it, and let's see how they go. So we actually see Staravia come out and contour the Jangmo-O, getting that attack drop, and Staravia sets up a Sunny Day while Jangmo-O sets up a Substitute. The U-turn is not enough to break the Substitute from Jangmo-O as Ivysaur comes out and Jangmo-O goes for the Dragon Dance. That's going to boost the speed by one stage. Of course, Ivysaur does have a speed boost in the Sun, and it's going to go for the Growth. A Contour goes for the Substitute, probably predicting a move taking it down, and that might not be very good for a Contour as it goes for another Dragon Dance. It is now also boosted by 2, and it has its attack increased as well, but a Giga Drain is going to do big damage, bring it down to 28% as a Contour goes for another Substitute that will survive, that will ensure it survives one more attack. There's still 3 turns left of Sun. The Giga Drain is going to bring down a Contour as it goes for the Dragon Claw. That does 48% to Ivysaur, and there's still 2 more turns of Sun. Ivysaur will outspeed a Contour with that Growth boost and Sun. It still has 1 more turn to deal some massive damage. It looks like Uragon, the Whirlipede, is going to come out protecting to make sure that Sun goes away and that it gets a speed boost. A good strategy there. Ivysaur still at 53% though and looking pretty scary. The Sludge Bomb's only going to do about 33% as Oregon goes for the Steamroller, which only does about 16%, so both these Pokemon not dealing a lot of damage to each other. Ivysaur, of course, might have Synthesis, and indeed it does. It's going to go back up to 60% from that Synthesis. Oregon keeps increasing its speed with Speed Boost, but Steamroller, it's not going to do a lot of damage. It does go for the Flinch though on Ivysaur. 2 more might be enough to take it down, but it's a risky bet. Yeah, Ivysaur is just walling Oregon with that Synthesis, so Oregon's probably going to have to switch out. Poison Jab does 23%, and Ivysaur continues to go for a Growth. It might be best for Benji to switch out at this point. This Ivysaur is just not going down. Steamroller does a critical hit though, and the Growth is going to increase Ivysaur's special attack and attack. Poison Jab is enough to take down Ivysaur, and the score is now 5-5 with Oregon having its speed maxed out. Staravia is going to come in, and the Intimidate makes its attack go down as Valstrax comes in to take that Brave Bird. Not going to do a lot of damage. Nothing really wants to switch in on an Earthquake from Lairon. Shellos would be the best bet, and Stone Edge actually misses Shellos, who comes in pretty safely. Duramboros, the Maractus, comes in, and the Scald is actually going to not affect it because of Water Absorb. So in comes Staravia instead, and Duramboros is going to go for the knockoff, which removes the Heat Rock from Staravia, hampering its ability to use Sun. The Brave Bird, once again, not going to do a lot of damage to Valstrax, who comes into wall it. U-turn allows it to get out, and of course we have some chip damage going. Shellos comes in, and the Earthquake is only going to do about 19% to Shellos. It's extremely bulky with that Eviolite, so Velkhana comes in and Staravia comes in again. Staravia can hit Velkhana really hard, but doesn't want to as it switches out into Comfy, and a Freeze Dry is going to do about 24% to Comfy. Comfy and Cryogonal have pretty similar stat distributions. Comfy actually goes for the growth, but Valstrax is going to be very, very lethal. So Shellos comes in instead. The Iron Head not doing a lot of damage, only doing 13%. And Maractus comes in. Will Shellos go for the Toxic? It does, predicting that. Switch into Duramboros, the Maractus, who is now poisoned as Staravia comes in to take the hit from Duramboros. It's another knockoff. It's a critical hit. 51% damage dealt, and Staravia now not looking comfortable at all as Valstrax comes in yet again, and Staravia is going to set up that Sunny Day, probably trying to get that boost for Synthesis on Comfy. But Shellos is going to come in, and the Stone Edge hits. It's a critical hit, dealing big damage to Shellos. If Valstrax goes first, Shellos might be able to go down, but it doesn't stay in to risk it, as Shellos goes for the Recover, and Duramboros probably going to go for a Giga Drain. We might see Breakson come in to get some advantage from that Sun. Actually, Comfy comes in, and the Energy Ball is going to do 43% to Comfy, pretty big damage. Comfy can, of course, go for Synthesis, and it will go first. So Whirlipede's actually the one who comes in instead. And indeed, we see the Synthesis bring Comfy back up to almost full health. But now the Sun is gone, and Togedemaru is the next one to come in. Toxic not going to affect Togedemaru in this matchup. In comes Lairon once again to block the physical attacks that might hurt him. Lairon's going to get paralyzed, and U-turn allows a pivot out. Staravia comes in to predict that Earthquake probably, but Iron Head's actually the move that's used, and down goes Staravia. The score is 4-5. We're at turn 35. Shellos comes in, and once again we see Maractus come in. It's already poisoned, and it's immune to water. Shellos, of course, a good wall. It has restored its health, and Comfy comes in. The knockoff is going to remove that Life Orb from Comfy, which makes it not hit as hard as it could. But Duramboros also suffering from that poison. Valstrax comes in, and the growth is up now. Will Valstrax go for the Iron Head? Looks like Shellos comes in, not wanting to get that Iron Head on Valstrax. Maractus coming in now to absorb that Scald. It does absorb the Scald, and now Maractus is at a 94%. Still toxic though. And in comes Breakson. Breakson is going to get hit by the Energy Ball. It only does 22%. And Flamethrower does take down Duramboros. The score is now 4-4 as Lairon is the next one to come in. Might not want to take a Flamethrower though. Lairon goes for the Earthquake. And Flamethrower is going to bring Lairon down to 23%. But the Iron Head hits, probably predicting a switch into Comfy. The Flamethrower now is enough to take down Lairon as the score goes to 4-3, and Noob Scrub seizes a little more momentum. Lava Seoth comes in, and Extra Sensory is going to bring Breakson down to 20%. Not a lot of damage, especially considering it has a Wish Up. Flamethrower is still not going to be enough to take down Breakson, as the Toxic is now set on Lava Seoth, so it's only going to be a matter of time for Lava Seoth not wanting to get Toxic. Eruption does decent damage, but again, Breakson can Wish, and we see that's exactly what it does as Lava Seoth gets damaged by that Toxic. Cryogonal is the next one to come in to try and threaten out Breakson. But Breakson is sitting pretty comfortably at 89%. The Toxic is going to hit, and Flamethrower does about 33% to Velkhana. So Velkhana is definitely going to be able to recover this off. Togedemaru is a Pokemon that definitely needs to try and take down Velkhana, as Velkhana goes for some more Toxic stall tactics. It has Leftovers equipped, so it can start stalling some more with the Leftovers and the Toxic damage over time. It is incredibly bulky on the especially defensive side too. But Whirlipede's actually going to come in to face Comfy instead, trying to scare it off probably. Comfy now at 70%, and Whirlipede won't be able to hit it with Poison Jab because Toga and Amaru comes in. And Oregon's going to use Protect to scout out the Nuzzle from Toga and Amaru. And in comes Quilava to take that Nuzzle since it's already toxic, but it's actually an Iron Head. It's a critical hit, it does decent damage. And now Braixen comes in. As we saw earlier, Braixen does have a comfortable time walling Lavasioth. It is toxic, but it still will be able to get a Wish off if it protects. Extrasensory does okay damage to Braixen, but again, we do see that Wish as Lavasioth starts suffering from that toxic poison. So in comes Cryogonal instead. Braixen now recovering a little bit, but still taking big damage from the toxic. Freeze Dry is going to deal a little damage to Braixen, who decides to stay in and go for the Flamethrower. One more toxic turn after this, and Braixen will go down. Braixen leaves, and in comes Toga and Amaru. Toga and Amaru, of course, having a good matchup versus all the Pokemon left on Benji's team. Benji goes for the Freeze Dry, but Toga and Amaru's Iron Head will do big damage, taking out Velkhana. There's 2 more Pokemon left, and Quilava is not looking very Quilava does come in, but it's only at 14%. Shellos is going to come in to wall Quilava and its Flamethrower. It is burned, and it does a little damage, but Shellos can easily recover that off. After an Extrasensory, Shellos is still able to recover as Lavasioth is taken down. And the last Pokemon on Benji's team is going to be Whirlipede. Oregon, the Whirlipede, and the Steamroller hits. Scald is able to deal some decent damage to Oregon. Not huge damage, but the advantage definitely seems to be on Shellos' side. Shellos is going to flinch from the Steamroller. This is pretty much Benji's hope at this point. I think that there's enough flinches to take down this Shellos. Scald hitting, any burn from Scald could be fatal to Oregon, the Whirlipede. So Shellos, of course, can recover, as Oregon does not have the ability to do so. Oregon now at 3.5 times speed, still going for those Steamrollers, trying to flinch, and indeed we see another flinch. The burn damage steadily dealing some chip to Shellos as well. Another Steamroller, only 11%, and Shellos is going to err on the side of caution and go for some recovery. Oregon stalling out with some Protect. More Steamrollers, more flinching. Shellos not going to flinch this time, and the Scald still won't burn, but it seems like one more Scald might actually be enough to take down Oregon. The Steamroller is going to hit, but the Scald takes down Oregon, and that is the match. What a battle. 4-0 victory for Noob Scrub's team, the E-Level Gamers, over Benji's team, the Star Conquerors. I think Benji is definitely going to find a way to try and deal with Shellos. I think that was the hardest Pokemon for him in the matchup because it was such a formidable wall, especially with that Eviolite attached. So that's probably what Benji's going to be looking forward to changing. Noob Scrub definitely brought a really good team in dealing with Cryogonal, especially with Toga and Amaru not being able to easily be taken down. So let's see how this team changes and how the battles go. Until then, this is Noel from my Cornet. See you then.